Hello and welcome to another Overlord lore video, and today we are going back to one of the saddest things happening in the third season of Overlord. And no, I'm not talking about its CGI. For today, we are going to take a look at the fate of Arche's two sisters. But before we're going to do so, let me thank my Patreons for supporting this channel, as well as all users of the YouTube thanks function, who made one-time donations. Now with that said, let's remember what was the problem in the first place with Arche and her sisters. Well, her parents. These two rich noblemen lived off comfortably of the taxes and the revenue that their lands and their titles generated, until the Emperor Jerknov has just taken away their title and all of their lands that they used to hold. Now bereft of an income, Arche's parents, Sir and Madame Furt, should have stopped spending precious money on luxury goods like lamps or perfume, sold their big mansion and just went to live a more humble life with the money they get from the sale. Maybe they could even have used some of the money for their oldest daughter Arche, who at this time was studying magic under Fluder Paradane himself and showed great promise, thanks to Arche sharing the same talent with Fluder. But of course they didn't. Worried only what their neighbors might think, they still spent money that they didn't have in order to impress people that were no longer around because they too fell into poverty, or had a rendezvous with the guillotine. Now Arche, because she was so talented and strong with magic, would likely have received grants from Fluder and the Empire in order to continue studying if she had asked for the Emperor's or Fluder's aid, because both were looking for strong magic casters, which Arche was. But by accident Arche's parents had raised a good daughter, and she instead did something that enraged her father a very lot. She started working, something her father felt shame about because he also feels that working should simply be beneath his family status. He also tried to scold and intimidate Arche into giving up her job, which to the girl who fights life and death battles on a weekly basis was utterly unimpressive. In short, Arche's parents were like delusional parasites that believed that their host is utterly dependent on them and that they would be fine without a host in turn. And this refusal to work, combined with their preference to spend money that they no longer had, led them to go into massive debt, and they borrowed their money from very shady people. The only reason why they could even keep their lifestyle and make their payments on the interest was because of Arche, who risked life and limb, and in the web novel also her virginity, by working as an unofficial adventurer, a so-called worker. And Arche wasn't stupid. Despite loving her family, she saw how reckless her parents were spending the gold she fights life and death battles for, instead of saving it or paying off their debts. And therefore she wanted to take her sisters and leave her home after finishing one more job, which of course was her doom. And Arche had loved her sisters, and her sisters Urerika and Kuderika loved their big sister too. And since both were still young, they didn't grasp the severity of the situation and the reckless spending of their parents as something bad or abnormal. All they noticed is that Arche went away sometimes, and that her arms and hands, steeled from many battles, were now quite hard and strong. So after their oldest daughter didn't return from work, the parents of Arche would surely have come to their senses, and now bereft of any income whatsoever, sold everything that they still had, in order to honor Arche's last wish by now caring for their two remaining daughters. But of course they didn't. Instead they sold their both remaining daughters in order to pay off their debts. And that's all we have been told in the light novel. Now the author of Overlord himself, Maruyama-sama, has stated that both of their sisters eventually died from overworking, which is bad. But considering that Tuare was once in a very similar situation, where she too were sold to a criminal underworld organization by a nobleman, and also would have died if it wasn't for Seba's timely intervention, I don't even want to think about what kind of work these sisters had to endure. Now in the web novel, their fate is considerably better, for while they were also sold by her parents, Eventually some noblemen decided to offer them to Einsulgon as a sacrifice to the Supreme Being. Eins in turn reunited Arche, who also has survived in the web novel, with her sisters. And the sisters basically lived happily even after on the 6th floor of the Great Tomb of Nazarick. So in the web novel, the two sisters of Arche eventually received essentially the same lenient treatment that the three freed elves from Area Usrud had in the light novel. So this was essentially a very sad episode, and it really illustrates that being good and just in one's motive doesn't matter at all in the world of Overlord. And with that said, I say thank you very much for watching, and special thanks to Bad Guy Yi, Ben C, Chrissy, Crowley0221, Sia, Dead Slime, Death is Mercy, Deathless Dragonlord, Demon Xenomorph 1987, Devin Downen, Dystopia II, Enigmatic Unicorn, Feralchivan, Guy with That Head, Hector Marino, Hoss, Huster, Jacob G, Jana B, Jason, Chromius, Legendarius, Lelouch wie Britannia with a Mustache, Lexus Fox, Lord Nishikian Rai, Lord Touch Me, Merovec, Mr. Shoes, Mr. Tweaker, Michael R, Michael Y, Normal Toad, Okill, Overlord General Gasper, Paddy Pantom, Personage, Primus 11, Shergog is Daddy, Shadow Lightning Wolf, Shrine Keeper, Staris, Ted, Texas Deer, The Orc Warboss, Rocket Smasher, T.E. Wang, Vash Hawkeye, Vegito27, Venture Fanatic, Wilhelm, and Sonnegon. Thanks guys. Anyway, have a nice day, and I hope to see you all again soon on my next video.